Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss. This is my review for Freezing Vibration Episode 3. Now, this one starts off with a little another little press conference. Well, not press conference, but it's Scarlet O'Hara, and she's talking with the Pandora and the E-Pandora, and she announces that Mark 4 is actually going to be used. And she says that they're going to be using a Pandora's data, and pretty much they're going to use the Pandora's data to make the E-Pandora stronger. I don't really get the technical stuff, but that's pretty much the main point. They're going to use this drug. They're going to make this drug using the Pandora's data, and it's going to make the E-Pandora stronger. Now, after this, we go to the pool scene that we have every episode. Elizabeth's there, Chiffon's there, Roxanne's there, and they're talking about Mark IV. And Elizabeth is explaining how it's not a good thing because their bodies probably won't be able to handle it. But Charles and Julia, they show up. They're saying it doesn't really matter because they're Pandora, and all they have to do is follow orders. That's it. Charles ends up asking Chiffon what she thinks, and Chiffon gets angry that everyone's calling her a monster, and she ends up turning into a little bit of a monster. So that was actually pretty funny. Uh, we end up seeing that Scarlet O'Hara, she's going to end up using Satellizer, her data for Mark IV. Then after that, Amelia, she walks into Scarlet's little office lab area, and they have this conversation. They're going back and forth, and Amelia just wants to know if Mark IV is safe, because Mark III was an absolute failure. And she should know, because apparently she's the one who had Mark III before. And her hair actually used to be red, but because of Mark III, most of it turned white. So, according to Jina, Amelia actually died once during Mark III. So that was incredibly painful for her. And Scarlet, she fought for Amelia the entire time. When she saw Amelia in pain, she told everyone to stop the experiment. They're like, hey, if you do that, there might be serious problems here. And she's like, I don't care, because if we don't do something, then she's going to die. And I don't want that. So Amelia does trust Scarlet. And Scarlet tells her, I wouldn't let you guys die that easily. So Amelia believes her, and then she walks away. We go to Satella and Rana. They were doing the sit-up competition. They both end up tying, and Rana ends up running into Rattle, literally. And Rattle has this chocolate popsicle thing, and it gets knocked to the floor. Rana picks it up for her, but Rattle starts wiping it off and stuff so that she can keep eating it, and Rana's like, wait, you're gonna eat that? And Gina takes offense to this because she knows about Rattle's past and how she used to starve, and that's the only reason why she even became an E-Pandora. So Gina takes offense to it. She starts going back and forth with Rana, but Satella, she remembers that conversation from the last episode that Gina, Rattle, and Amelia were having. So she knows about Rattle's past. So she tries to pull Rana away and say, look, I understand why you took offense to that. I'm sorry for her rude behavior. We're just gonna leave. But Gina's like, wait, are you pitying us? And Satella, she's like, no, I'm not, but I'm just trying to avoid a fight. And Gina's like, well, why? And Satella's like, because you can't beat us the way you are now. And Gina with her little complex, she's like, wait, so you're looking down on us again? And personally, I don't know why Satella had to come out and say it like that. She could have just said something along the lines of, it's something like, isn't it natural to want to avoid a fight? Or, something like that. That doesn't come off as just looking down on them. But her and Elizabeth, all the Pandora, not all the Pandora, but most of them, tend to just look down on the E-Pandora without realizing that they're doing it. And they don't really see where the E-Pandora are coming from. Even like Charles and Roxanne during the mock battle, they didn't know why they were fighting so hard. So the relationship between the Pandora and the E-Pandora is actually pretty interesting. But we end up seeing Jina and Rattle later on. Amelia catches up to them, and apparently Jina has volunteered for Mark IV. And Amelia's saying, why are you doing that? You know how Mark III turned out. You shouldn't be doing this. And Jina says, yes, I should, because it's because of how Mark III turned out. If I didn't do it, then I know you would have tried to do it so that we didn't have to get hurt. Because thanks to you, we didn't have to go through the pain of Mark III. And we're thankful to you for that. But we don't want you to have to take this burden on by yourself all the time. We are here, we're your friends, and we want to help too. That's why I volunteered for Mark IV. So that was actually a nice moment. Amelia, we learned that Amelia actually has a little brother. So, that's a nice little detail, I guess. We see the scene of Jina actually asking Scarlet if she can be the one who gets Mark IV, and she sees on one of the screens in the back that Satella's data is going to be used. So she actually ends up going to Satella's room and talking to her. The two of them leave because Rana and Kazuya are there. They want to talk alone. So they go to another area and they begin talking. And Jina thanks Satella. She tells her your data is going to be used for Mark IV. So thank you. Stella's like, wait, hey, I'm not really doing anything here. You don't really need to thank me. She's like, oh, well, thank you anyway, because I'm going to be able to use your power to beat you. And Stella's like, oh, all right, I see. Well, I'm not going to go down that easily. Gina's like, that's what you think. But we go back to Satella's room, and she walks in, and she sees Rana on top of Kazuya. And that's, your typical reaction, but I've got a problem with Kazuya, okay? He's not as bad as Ichika, but, I mean, come on. Rana is awesome in literally every single way. Like, out of all the characters, I like her character design the best. I think her character design is the best out of all the characters. But, you have Rana right there. She's clearly, she's thirsty. She's probably thirstier than Tatanashi herself. Okay? And you've got Rana right there. She wants you as her limiter. She's willing to give you everything. And Satella, doesn't give you nearly as much. She doesn't really give you anything, to be honest. She doesn't even want to do the baptism. So it's like, she's satisfied with the way things are right now. Rana wants to take things to the next level. She wants to give you everything. Satella doesn't want to do that. She wants things to stay the way they are and not really have to give him anything. But she wants to get stuff in return, like him being her unofficial limiter because she doesn't want to do the baptism. Which I can understand because she's the untouchable queen, and because of her past, which gets explained in the arc that the anime skipped. But I can understand that, but Kazuya needs to go to Stella and tell her, what is stopping me from becoming Rana's limiter? She legitimately wants it. She wants it real bad. And Stella, you don't really seem to want it at all. You want things to stay the way they are. So, what's stopping me from becoming her limiter? Like, I don't need you to give me everything right now like Rana wants to do, but you can give me something at least, I don't know. I understand where they're all coming from, but at the same time, it still annoys me. But anyway. After that, we go to Jina. She's getting Mark IV injected. Has the stigmata marks and stuff. That's what we saw in the preview last week. Then they end up having that mock battle between her and Satella. And Jina actually does pretty well for herself. Now, if this fight were dragged down, we actually saw the whole thing, and Satella would win, hands down. There's no doubt about that. Satella's just too good. She really is. She's just too good. Worst comes to worst, she'd get those wings that she got in the first season. Go crazy, stigmata marks all over. Jina wouldn't be able to do anything at all. They need to get some other Pandora in there to stop her. But, still, she does pretty well for herself. There's this news report about how the E-Pandora project is a success, and E-Pandoras are just as strong as original Pandoras. And this part was interesting for me personally, because it shows that I was right last week. The reporter says that the E-Pandora can materialize their weapons, and even use high-end techniques. Even. Which means that it should be harder to use those techniques than to materialize a Volt weapon. So why could they use those techniques, but not materialize a Volt weapon? You know, just saying. Alright? If they can use Excel, then they should be able to get a Volt weapon. But that's, you know, whatever. But, nah, it's kind of minor, but personally for me, I just thought it was worth pointing out, just to show that I was right. Well, you know, whatever. But, after this, we go to, the secretary guy, and these two scientists are there giving him results, and they're saying, you know, there's her stigmata are eating away at her from the inside. You know, should we do something about this? And the secretary's like, hey, that's actually not too far off from the projections. And they're like, wait, what? You knew this would happen? And like right there, you're just thinking, wow. Wow. You know, it was clear this guy didn't care if they died, but I didn't think he'd, like, actually be willing to kill them, just to get more data. I thought he'd be saying, well, you know, if they die, then so be it, but I didn't think he'd actually say, go kill them for more data. And it turns out not only did he know, but Scarlet knew too. And she's thinking about it too when she sees Jina on the table. She's thinking about it and she's saying to herself, you know, sorry Jina, we knew this would happen. And Jina, she knows what's going on too. She realizes that there's this big reveal that she's, not only are her stigmata eating away at her, but she's actually turning into a nova. That's not good at all. That is not good at all. And Jina, she's thinking about everything that's happened, and she's just thinking, you know, she realizes that the end is near, and she wants to see Rattle and Amelia one more time. That's it. One more time. That's all she wants now. And probably so that she can actually go and tell them what Mark IV is going to do to them. That way they can, you know, get out. But her will to live and to see them that one last time and save them. She's able to actually start moving again. She gets up off the table. She starts breaking through walls and everything. And we see Amelia and Rattle passing by Satella. And she still has faith in Scarlet. So there's no doubt that if Scarlet tells her some lie, she's going to believe it. But Jina busts in, and you can see she's still got the stigmata marks, but part of her face is falling off. Like the entire side of her face is just like, ugh. I mean, like there's no hair over here anymore. Her entire face is just falling off now. She's got these things growing out of her back. She's legitimately turning into a nova. And Rattle and Amelia, they see her and they're like, oh, wait a second, is that Jina? No, it should be obvious because of the hair that she does have left, you know. But it should be obvious it's Jina. But they realize that it's Jina, and the secretary, he's got people on the phone like, do something about this. We cannot let this girl get outside the lab. Right? The entire Jina is now the face of the E-Pandora project thanks to that news report. They've been saying that this project is a success, and if they see the girl they associate with success outside the lab turning into a nova, then that's it for the project. It's done. It's done. Chevalier is not gonna. No. No, they are not gonna deal with that anymore. Gengo Aoi is gonna be all over that. Gengo Aoi is gonna be all over that, man. No. They are not gonna let that project continue if word gets out that the very enemies that they're supposed to be fighting are being created because of this project. They're not, no, that is not good. The secretary is not going to let that happen at all, especially since it's his head on the line. But he's telling people, you know, deploy the Pandora. We need to get this girl and prevent her from leaving the lab. So they call in Chiffon, they call in Roxanne, Charles, Julia, Cassie, Elizabeth, Satella, and probably Rana too. Probably a bunch more. Maybe even those girls from the mock battles last episode, like the redhead and the random Pandora and stuff. Right? Who knows how many how many they deployed, but it's gonna be enough probably. You know, the E-Pandora are already weaker than the regular Pandora, so even if Amelia and Rattle try to fight back and protect Jina, it's not gonna work. Especially with the 5 strongest right there, and the 7th strongest. And Satella's a main character, so that automatically puts her above everyone else. So, you've got freaking Kazuya Aoi, grandson of Gango Aoi, the brother of Kazuha Aoi. He's got the genes. He's probably, once he gets to the baptism, he'll probably become the most powerful limiter in the world. Alright, like, it's clear that things are not looking too good for Jina and the E-Pandora. They're not. And that's how this episode ends. You're just left with that thought. Things are not going to end well for these guys at all. But that's it for the episode. Towards the it started to get better and better and better as the end got closer and closer. So I'll actually give this one an 8 out of 10. Thanks to the ending, I think it was actually a pretty good episode. But yeah, that's it for now. Kuroko review should be up today. Yeah, that's it. This episode of Freezing Vibration gets an 8 out of 10. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.